Sometimes it's possible to solve equations that aren't actually quadratic using the same types of strategies we would use for a quadratic equation. For example, here's an equation. It's definitely not quadratic because it's degree 4. Quadratic equations, the highest power is 2. This one, the highest power is 4, so it's not quadratic. But we can solve this equation by factoring. Everything you know about factoring, we're going to factor this completely. So the first thing I'm going to do is look for a common factor for my two terms. I have a 3 and a 27. I can divide both of those by 3. And I have an x squared in both terms that I can pull out also. Left over from the first term, after I factor out 3x squared, I'm going to need another x squared. Left over from the second term, minus 27 divided by 3 is 9. The x squared is already factored out, so I don't need any more x's in there. Equals 0. But look what happened here. I have x squared minus 9. That's the difference of squares. We can factor those. So let's go ahead and factor. I got 3x squared. This will factor as x minus 3 times x plus 3. At this point, that's factored completely. There's nothing else that I can factor that isn't already factored. So I'm going to take each of my factors. There happen to be 3 of them, but that's fine. I'm going to take each factor and set it equal to 0 separately. So I got 3x squared equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0, and x plus 3 equals 0. If I had 5 factors, I'd take 5 factors and set them equal to 0. So now I have 3 little equations that we can solve. I'm going to divide by 3, and you may be able to make the leap here. If x squared is 0, technically what we're doing is saying I'm going to take the square root, and x is, the only way to get 0 is 0 times 0. So there's my first solution, is x equals 0. Next, if I add 3 both sides, and again, if you can make the leap without writing down, that's okay. If you need to write down, write it down. I get x is positive 3 from that one. And x is negative 3. So we factored completely, set each factor equal to 0, and solved.